I think I will just begin. So, my name is Maria Vandenberg, and this is a story about what happens when we listen deeply. So, to properly start this story, I need to begin with my original childhood dream, which was to be a world famous actress. There is a part of me that to this day still very much longs to be on that stage. There is also a part of me that is 100% terrified of being the center of attention. Because of that, I actually haven't set foot on stage in about 20 years. So, what does that have to do with listening? To tell this story, I need to rewind about 3 weeks and bring us back to the opening of a show called Freestyle Love Supreme that happened in Seattle, Washington. So I purchased really cheap discounted tickets way up in the balcony. And I was very excited, but to go just as an audience member. Improv shows work how improv shows work, which is they're based off of audience suggestions. Again, 3-year-old Maria loves this. 40-year-old Maria is terrified of it. So I get to the show. I have no plans of saying anything. And all of a sudden, the MC, a guy by the name of Two Touch, asks if anybody has a story from their childhood where they would like a second chance. This is where my first example of deep listening happens because I had to listen to myself. It was such a weird dichotomy because my mind is freaking out. I don't want this attention. Do not raise your hand. Don't even go there. And my heart, this little Maria, is like longing to be seen. So my hand flies up, it's waving around. And the next thing I know, I'm being called on. So this is a headline, 10 words or less. Story from your childhood where you wish you had a second chance. And I say, fourth grader hops in a truck and disappoints her fake father. The cast is intrigued. And the next thing I know, there is a microphone being tossed up all the way up to my cheap balcony seat. And this is where the second example of deep listening happens. The cast of Freestyle Love Supreme only has 1 minute, 2 minutes to listen to my story. So they ask me a series of questions and I tell them about how I'm a 9-year-old living in Santa Monica, California, across the street from my school, how I may or may not have idolized my 4th grade teacher, and how all of a sudden one day a semi-truck pulls up and 9-year-old Maria decides it'd be a brilliant idea to hop in for a joyride. My mom, of course, freaks out, thinks I've been kidnapped, storms across the street, tells my 4th grade teacher. And when I show back up after my ride around the block, I am in so much trouble. And the last thing in the world I want to do is show up to school the next day and hear about how much my actions disappointed my teacher. So then Two Touch asked me, okay, we could go back in time and change this story. What would we do? What would you say? And I said, I would tell little Maria that you're safe. Like, don't get in the car. And he says, really? You didn't feel safe? And I said, no, I felt safe. I was curious, but that seems like a horrible, horrible story to tell. And then this is where really the magic happens, because as I started, my original childhood dream was to be an actress. And so for that moment in time, because I listened deeply to myself and was brave enough to raise my hand and share little Maria's story, much like I'm doing actually right now in this present moment, the cast, and because of the fact that Freestyle Love Supreme took that opportunity to listen very deeply to those, me answering just a few questions, they reenacted both the version of the story I shared as well as an alternate version where I did not get in the car and I may or may not have become the first female president. And so to close, like why this story was so meaningful to me is because for that moment in time at the opening of Freestyle Love Supreme in Seattle, I had the opportunity to really feel like I transcended time and space and that I was a star. My story was told on that stage, and little Maria's dreams became a reality. And because of that, I think I will always treasure that moment for the rest of my life. The end.